Good evening to everyone. Thanks for joining in this session. And what we are looking at is basically trying to understand the corporate culture, the corporate environment, things that are happening in the corporate. And importantly, I'd asked this question in the group that what are the issues that you are currently facing, right? And the main the the main question was in at your workplace, right? At your workplace, what are the issues that you are facing right now? And I had taken a poll, I had put up a poll, and based on that, I had given six options. And out of the six options, the maximum votes went to, the second last one, which is people are saying they're not able to focus on the work, and hence that is delaying or that is hampering their delivery time, their delivery and their performance as it might be required in the organization. So focus was one major issue that people came in out of 80, 90 votes that people gave in. Uh, Focus came out to be the main issue in terms of people having problems in working at the organizations. The second point and the third point was second was managing expectations of seniors and sticking to their deadlines, right? That was the next issue. And the third one was not able to communicate my ideas to seniors, right? I think pretty much same. I have been in the corporate for 20 years, and I would say uh, these are the issues even which I faced, right? And why I have put these reasons is because based on my experience, based on my past experience, I have gone through the same issues and hassles, and that's the reason I asked you, and that's the reason I asked you so that I can design this training module based on those lines. Okay, so are we good on that? Now, we can have two approaches to the entire session. I can talk about a lot of technical things, a lot of gyan, a lot of knowledge, but I would like to keep it very simple. I would like to get into a more of a storytelling mode. Of course, there will be some concepts which I need to explain, research, etc., etc. But there will be some, most of the concepts I'll try to keep it light because trust me when I tell you, अगर मैं आपको बोलूं कि ट्रेनिंग है आ जाओ सीख जाओगे, कोई नहीं सीखता. No one learns, or they learn very less when you get into a training room thinking it as a training experience, right? But where do you learn the most? Okay, where do you learn the most? You learn the most through conversations, right? Through casual conversations, through your own observations, and you learn the most. When I was taking the session on organizational behavior, I have told the importance of stories. You learn the most when you listen to stories, and you retain that information much more. So, as much as possible, I would try to give those examples. I would like to tell you those stories that are based out of this research, based out of the points that I'm coming in. So I hope that is okay. Give me a thumbs up in your chat box if that is good with you. If not, you can tell me no, but I feel that is the best way to go about. So use your chat box, tell me, give me a thumbs up. Okay, great. uh, all right, perfect. So now when we look at performance, okay, have a let's do a slight mental exercise. Let's have a thought experiment. Let's just pause for a second and let's just understand, a concept of, just admit, just observe, or just imagine two houses. Okay, two kinds of houses. All right. The first house, in the first house, the people are unhappy and complaining most of the times. All right. And because of these people are unhappy and they are complaining most of the number of times, what does that lead to? What does that lead to when people keep complaining most of the times and are unhappy? Does it not lead to a toxic culture? Does it not lead to low trust in the house? All right. We all come from families. We all have gone through it. I'm not saying this is happening in our family, but we have seen families, right? Someone in a relative, someone in friends. We experience toxic culture. All right. At the same time, let's imagine another house where people are content most of the time. And that contentment, that piece of satisfaction, that mindset leads to a high level of trust, within people. And because there is a high level of trust, there's open communication, and there is, uh, ideas keep flowing very easily, isn't it? Right? When you are relaxed, your mind is fresh, your mind is open, your mind starts thinking, right? And the idea starts flowing easily. Importantly, what happens in such houses, what happens in such environment is that there is a very strong support system, right? Where if someone is facing an issue, प्रशांत, यस मैं ट्राई कर रहा हूँ हिंदी में भी बात करने के लिए। अगर घर के अंदर किसी को प्रॉब्लम होती है तो घर वाले एकजुट हो जाते हैं, और ये तभी होता है जब लोग घर के अंदर सुकून से रह रहे हैं। लेकिन अगर वही घर में प्रॉब्लम्स है, कंप्लेनिंग हो रहा है, एक दूसरे को कंप्लेन करते हैं, तो वो एक टॉक्सिक कल्चर, एक ब्लेम गेम करने चालू करते हैं लोग, राइट? सो दैट इज इन, जस्ट इमेजिन दिस टू हाउसेस, राइट? And everything is same in these two houses. Thus, the kind of things which are available is the same. Everyone have the same resources. Why? What according to you, in your chat box, what according to you is the major difference? At the same time, if I change now, you said that yes, you have seen houses like that, where people kind of are different, uh, where people act in a different way. Imagine instead of the two houses, you take this to a corporate, right? You take this to an organizational setup, and you see one organization where people, the employees are always complaining, are unhappy, and therefore there is low trust. At the same time, you see another corporate, you see another organization where you have some of your friends working, or maybe you are working in that organization, and you see that people are performing without much interference from management. And because of that, people have that freedom to take decisions. People have that freedom to voice out their ideas and their opinions. And they know that if they voice out their opinions, अगर मैं बात करूं, अगर मैं कुछ आइडिया दूं, अगर वो गलत भी हुआ तो मेरा बॉस या मेरा लीडर मुझे सपोर्ट करेगा, राइट? सो दीज आर टू ऑफ ट्रस्ट. Girish and Nitin, you're talking about trust, but trust is an after effect. You get my point? I'm saying what leads to it. Trust is the result, but what is the cause? Cause and effect. Okay, trust is the effect, but what is the cause that creates all that? Can we say that is because of what? What's the difference? Guys, come on. I want you to please understand. I want you to use your thoughts also, because I will not be able to change you in 1 hour and make you a strong employee or a strong leader. I can, in this 1 hour, I can only get you to that direction, to think in that direction. That is my objective out over here. I will give you ideas, I will give you a lot of case studies, examples, but I cannot change you in 1.5 hour. What I will do is I will start making you think in that direction which I want you to do that. Right. And that's my role as a transformation coach. Please understand this, guys. Okay. Because the moment I'm no one to tell you what to do, but I can only show you the direction. And then our mind is already programmed. Our mind is smart enough to pick up those things. I hope that style is okay with you all. So that's the reason I want no one is wrong or no one is right. That's why I want your involvement as well. So what's the difference? Amita says miscommunication. Can I say mindset? Can I say mindset is the difference? The way people think in an organization, right? The way people think leads to how their thoughts are formed, and how their thoughts are formed, they are able to communicate those thoughts to people around them, right? And if they are able to communicate those thoughts to people around them, they will act in that fashion. Let me give an example. I used to work in a bank, very large bank, one of the largest banks of the country. I used to work in that bank. And for a short period of time, this was when way back in 2010, 2011, I'm talking about 12 years ago. And I was not at a very senior position back then. I used to report to someone. And I had joined, it was a new team which I had joined, right? And that team, or the leader of that team, or the team manager, had set up a process. उसने ऐसा प्रोसेस बनाया था कि एनीवन हु डज रॉन्ग, कोई भी गलती करे तो दूसरा कोई आके उस बॉस मैनेजर को जाके बोले हाँ ये गलती कर रहा है और इसने ये गलती किया, Okay, they have created that kind of a process. Now, because of that process, people stop trusting each other. And instead of using my time and effort into thinking what better I can do, I'm using my mind. My mindset is being built to just protect myself and ensure I'm not getting it wrong in front of someone. Okay, and I'm not being reported to my manager. Okay, these are very important things, very small things, but very important things that impacts. So it all starts from mindset. Del Amitri, I will come to you later when you say not always mindset. I would love to have your opinion, but later on. Okay. Now in mindset, what are the things that can create? एक बात बताओ कि what are the things that can create a positive mindset, and what is it that actually creates a negative mindset? If today you are in a good mood, today is a Sunday, right? Today is a Sunday, it's a holiday, everything is great. You might have some plans, and that's the reason I keep thanking you for you guys to join this session. So, what is the mindset today as compared to, let's say, tomorrow is a Monday? Monday, we have these things like Monday blues. Monday morning, we are kind of lethargic. It's a 1 day holiday, 2 day holiday. We don't want to go back. Isn't there a difference in the mindset at that point of time? Isn't there? Yes or no? Right? Yes, definitely there is. Okay. So what are the things that keep coming and that keeps impacting our mindset? Anyone? Guys, let's just chat. Let's just chat. Put your pot. A positive mindset will always give better and more productive areas. Yes. Amita, surroundings. Yes. Okay. Can I say resistance? Can I say resistance? What do you mean by resistance? Now let me tell you a story. Everyone knows Hitler. Everyone knows Adolf Hitler. Yes, no. हिटलर को सब लोग जानते हैं जिसने सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर किया था पूरे दुनिया में ही क्रिएटेड द सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर आई होप एवरीवन नोज हिटलर राइट हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू ऑल नो that Hitler actually wanted to be a painter, he wanted to be an artist? How many of you all know that Hitler had no plans of orchestrating a war or capturing the whole world or torturing people? Hitler was actually an artist. He wanted to become a painter. Okay. But there was resistance in Hitler's mind. Hitler has had this fear of looking at the canvas because Hitler's nature, when you speak about personality, Hitler had a personality that he wanted to always be perfect. Okay. And because he was so much into perfection, that's why we say that don't wait to be perfect. Get into the act. Along with action, you will always reach perfection. Okay, so Hitler was that guy who could not face a canvas. Canvas जिसपे हम पेंटिंग करते हैं ना, हिटलर उसको फेस नहीं कर पाता था, right? And there was resistance. Resistance is something which will always keep stopping you. Resistance is that thing which keeps coming to you and telling you the story that why you cannot do something. Why is this an issue? Why is this a challenge? Okay. In the group, I had posted that when you get an idea, आपको जब भी कोई आइडिया आता है कुछ करना चाहिए, आपको उस आइडिया को 3 सेकेंड में इंप्लीमेंट करना चाहिए. What do you mean by that? If you get an idea to do something, start working on that idea within 3 seconds of getting it. Because after 3-4 seconds, the mind is lazy. हम सबके माइंड्स क्या है? लेजी है, आलसी है. Mind tries to avoid effort. All right. So in 3 or 4 seconds, you have this sudden idea, a sudden hit into your mind, and you get this idea of doing something. If you don't act in 3 seconds, your mind will start giving you reasons why you should not do it. Do you understand? Absolutely. Well, yes. The and how do you counter is, one is you can write it down roughly in a piece of paper. I'm not saying that you write the entire idea down, but I always use my phone, and whatever thoughts come to me, I always, WhatsApp it to myself. I keep it in the memory, and then I have a time in the day, in the evening, where I go through all those points. This entire training session, from the time I got the idea, I put the message in the group in 3 seconds. And that's the reason how we will do it, what we will do, what will happen, X, Y, Z thing, we will see always later. We can always deal with things, right? There is nothing that was ridiculous. In the last minute right now, the YouTube link wasn't working. The YouTube link wasn't working. I was not able to upload this presentation that you'll see. I had to change last second. Issues come up. I did not cancel. I didn't want to cancel it. It's okay. I said that let it happen. Let me quickly jump onto Zoom. Let me quickly send it to people. Let's wait for 5 minutes. कुछ दुनिया चेंज नहीं होने वाली है. 5 मिनट में किसी का दुनिया चेंज होता है. Unless and until you're taking a flight or you are in some very critical condition, it does not happen, right? So always try to see that in 3 seconds you record that idea somewhere. Okay, I have made a video of resistance on my YouTube channel. You can watch it later on. But resistance is dangerous. And how you can overcome resistance is because you want to do things, but there are these stories that keep coming. At times, family gives us resistance. Kya re, ye kaise karoge? I left my job after working in the corporate for 23 years. Imagine the resistance that I had. How will I do it? How will I manage? How will I manage my expenses? How will how will I do the things that I want to do? By having no income, right? This was in 2021, but working for 1.5 to 2 years now, things are sorted. I'm doing better than that what I was doing in the corporate, right? So things happen. As long as you are focused, things happen. Obstacles. Don't you think obstacles are a big challenge to the mindset? Yes, Amita, we need to have plan B ready. A lot of things that I do today was not the plan I actually did, but the moment I step onto it, I got into the idea, plans also automatically start coming. Okay. Now, during when you do that, let's say you jumped into it, you started acting upon it, you started working on it, and then suddenly you get obstacles. Some challenges come into your way. What do you do then? What do you do then? Okay, there is a saying that the obstacle is the way, right? What does that mean? Obstacle is the way means that one mindset can be that there's a challenge, कुछ परेशानी आ गई आपको लाइफ में और उसके वजह से आपने उस चीज को छोड़ दिया. The other guy, what he does is when there is an obstacle that comes in his way, he uses that obstacle to create more ideas. Now, let me give an example what happened in the COVID period. In the COVID period, when everything was shut down, a lot of small businesses went for a toss. They shut down. A lot of hotels, a lot of restaurants went for a toss. They shut down. But then people started using alternate channels. People started tying up with Amazon and started delivering their business on Amazon. And today, those people are doing 10x business. There are restaurants who are not on Zomato, but they got linked with Zomato. And they started doing 10x business. They started delivering 10x business. The obstacle that came through COVID, right, it actually carved out a new way for them. I always keep telling about my story. How did I get into writing coaching? Okay, I faced anxiety for 3 years. You might have seen the introduction video which I put in. I got this issue for 3 years. Okay, I could not work, I could not do anything. But then I started understanding this and I started getting into, various reading, various learning activities. And then I started writing a book. I wrote a book and then I started training. The anxiety and the issues, the pressures which I faced helped me to carve out a new career path for myself. That's the mindset change. Fear, we would look into fear also deeply. Okay, I don't need to tell, but there are two types of fear. दो type का डर होता है, right? One is a rational fear. What is a rational fear? Rational fear means planning for contingency, planning for emergency, right? But what is irrational fear? Irrational fear is without anything happening, you feel that it will fail. Don't we think that? Because the mind is lazy, the mind is also automatically tuned to fear. And that is how the mind is developed, not because of the way our lifestyle is today. Because of we are animals, we used to live in the jungles. And living in the jungles, we had this natural characteristic that हमें जानवरों से डरना है. ओके, आज के जमाने में हमारे आसपास जानवर नहीं है, दुनिया में ही जानवर नहीं है, बट फिर भी हमें ऐसा डर लगता है कि कोई जानवर आ गया एंड जहां से भागो. तो व्हाट हैपेंस व्हेन वी आर अफ्रेड? आवर हार्ट बीट गोज अप. Yes or no? When we are afraid, doesn't our heartbeat goes up? Yes or no, guys? That is because we are our our system is designed to that lifestyle, and that's the reason we get a lot of irrational fears, which are not even real fears. Real fears are fear of moving cars, right? You just cannot say that I'm unafraid of anything and I can just close my eyes and cross the road. You need to have that kind of fear. That kind of fear develops you, helps you to grow, helps you to improve, helps you to learn. Okay. But if you think that a car will come inside your house and dash you, then that's an irrational fear. People without taking action, people without bringing out their ideas or telling their ideas to their supervisors, they think that no one will listen to me. Don't you think many a times in organizations or places where you work कि अगर यार मैं जाके किसी को बोलूँ ये पता नहीं क्या सोचेंगे, ये मैं सही कर रही हूँ क्या नहीं कर रही हूँ. That is an irrational fear. And the final aspect in this is focus. Like you mentioned, focus is a key attribute, is a key aspect of your performance, and we will look into focus deeply. When we talk about focus, when we say about focus, okay, when we talk about focus, we have to understand that our attention is in a very limited supply. Okay, we cannot be attentive to everyone else or everything that is happening around us. Do you understand? And that's the reason we need to ensure that how do we use our focus? We have to be very careful. We have to be a miser to what we focus. And because of that, we need to learn to say no to all those things which are not adding us any value. In your work today, go and find out what are the 20% of the things that give you 80% results. What are the 20% things that take up 80% of your time? Because if you want to increase your efficiency, if you want to increase your productivity, you need to understand this and you need to increase that work which is giving you 80% result. That you need to put your effort more into that 20% which is giving you 80% result. So mindset is not really about your mind. It's not really how well qualified you are. Yes, those things help. Degrees, certification helps. But the way you tune your mindset to resistance, to obstacles, to fears, and how you bring your focus, how do you bring your focus into one place is basically what the mindset talks about. All right. Now, I want you to do an activity for a minute. Okay. I want you to do an activity for a minute. I want you to shut down all your notifications, all your phones, go silent. Okay. Sorry, don't shut down your phone if you are listening to the session from phone. Okay. I saw some people driving, so can excuse them as well. And just shut down everything, all the noise around you, and be in a very quiet zone. Be in a very quiet zone. Okay. And as you shut down, as you be in a quiet, close your eyes. Just close your eyes and just focus on your breathing. And as you focus on your breathing, just talk to yourself that you need to inhale and exhale. You getting the point? You need to inhale and exhale. I want you to do this for a minute. Is that okay? Just go back, just forget everything, close your eyes, and for a minute, just do this. And I will leave you for a minute. I will not talk anything for a minute. Okay, can we come back? Can you open your eyes if you were trying to focus and tell me how was the experience? How was the experience when you just tried to close your eyes and shut down? But tell me, guys, now you guys are saying it relaxed, it calmed your mind down, etc., etc. Did it really calm your mind down? Now, what happens is when we actually try to focus, we are having multiple distractions at the same time, is it not? Were you able to were you able to observe or feel your attention leaving whenever you were distracted? And were you able to get your attention back into the breathing? So if you're able to do that, now you are able to learn to watch your attention go and come back. So when we talk about focus, when we talk about deep focus, and we read books like Deep Work and Hyper Focus, and we talk about all these aspects, we talk about terms. People who are really, really focused in their lives, they know what to say no to things, and they know how to bring their attention back into things, even if they have a loss of attention. Even if they lose their focus, even if they have a loss of attention, they know to get it back. And this is a sheet. You can take a picture of this sheet and you can, practice this on a daily basis. You can keep a target and keep learning. All right. Now, why are we talking about attention? Why are we talking about why attention, focus, all these things are so important? Okay. Why is it so important? Now, I want to play a video. I want to play a video of an experiment which was done. Okay. What you have to do is the activity. This is an activity. There are people playing in, there are people in the video. In this video, you will see people playing basketball. Okay. Is that clear? People are playing basketball in this video. And there is one team which is dressed in black. There's one team which is dressed in black, and there is one team which is dressed in white. Clear? There will be a video where people are playing basketball. There is one team which is dressed in black, and there's one team dressed in white. Okay. What you have to do is, what you have to do is, you have to count the number of passes. You have to count the number of passes done by people who are dressed in white. क्लियर है? मैं एक वीडियो प्ले करूंगा. उस वीडियो में दो टीम खेल रही है बास्केटबॉल. एक सफेद कपड़ों में खेल रही है, एक काले कपड़ों में खेल रही है. ओके. आपको ये गिनना है कि जो सफेद कपड़ों में जो खेल रहे बास्केटबॉल, उन्होंने बॉल कितनी बार पास किया. Okay, in your chat box, can you all tell me how many passes? Okay, 11, 13. Archana is saying 13, 10, Dr. Shah. Okay, Karan 8. Correct answer is 15. All right. But how many of you all saw the gorilla? How many of you all missed the gorilla? Dr. Ashika, okay, you missed the gorilla. Nikhil missed the gorilla, okay. Vallabh, you also missed the gorilla, okay. Now, this is a selective attention test, okay. And what happens over here is, this was a age-old test which was done to see people's attention, how focused you are, okay. If I had not given you the option, now please listen to this carefully. If I had not given you the option and I had asked you all to just sit down, relax, enjoy the game and watch it, most likely all of you might have observed the gorilla, right? Most of you would have observed the gorilla on the screen. But the moment I gave you a task where you have to focus, the moment I gave you a task where you have to focus, you are so engrossed. You are so engrossed in actually counting what was happening that you actually forgot a huge gorilla who came on the screen, who thumped his chest and he who went away. Okay, what does it say about our attention? Okay, have you heard about that saying that things sometimes are right in front of us but we cannot see it? Have you all heard about it? Have you all experienced this? कि चीजें आपके सामने होती है घर में ऑफिस में, चीजें हमारे घर में होती है, things are in front of us but we are not able to see it. In the office there are solutions in front of us, we are not able to see it. We miss simple solutions when we try to focus too much. Why? Why is because we start thinking so deeply into some aspects that we miss out the bigger picture. Everyone knows about zoom in, zoom out. सबके पास कैमरा है फोन में. This is what happens to us in our lives also. That sometimes with certain things we are so zoomed in into those things of our life that we don't see the bigger picture. And to understand that very deeply, we need to zoom out. We need to zoom out of life sometimes to see a bigger picture. होता ना कि अगर आप जमीन पे हो, आपके अगर बिल्डिंग के जमीन में हो, आप एक कुछ ढूंढ रहे हो, तो आपको इधर उधर जाना पड़ा, आपको पता नहीं चल रहा, तो आप अपने टेरेस पे चले जाओ. यू गो ऑन टू योर फ्लोर और योर रूफ टॉप. When you get into a rooftop, you have a macro view, you have a larger enlarged view of your things, and therefore you are able to see the entire picture. So there are times when you need to zoom in, there are times you need to zoom out in your attention test. And the beauty about this is, tell me what is the biggest beauty? That people don't agree, right? Don't you see this? People don't accept it that they have missed out. This happens in our families as well. That's why we say that we are not only blinded to the obvious, but we are also blinded to our own blindness. Normally, if I had told you all again, if I had asked you all that, don't count, just watch the game, just be relaxed. When we are relaxed, we observe everything. But the moment we have some stress that we have to count something, we have to do some calculation, हम बोलते ना अरे डिस्टर्ब मत कर, मैं कुछ फोकस कर रही हूँ. Right? Why? Because we know हमारा ध्यान रहता नहीं है. Sometimes when we are busy into something very important and someone in the house has told us something and gone, some crucial piece of information, we forget about it. And then, husbands and wives, this happens. अरे तूने ये कब बोला था? When did you say this? Don't we experience that? And that is how our attention is divided today, guys. When we are into something important, when we are into something critical, if we focus on the other aspects of life, we will either miss out on this, on counting, or we will miss out on the big gorilla who's there right in front of us, and we will say that we did not see the gorilla. What are the things today in our life that we are losing attention because of? Can you all tell me? Can you all tell me what are the things that we are losing attention on today? Mobile, social media, absolutely. Social media, mobile is creating the maximum distraction, and the companies who are trying to, who are creating these apps, they want you to be distracted. Please understand this. I'm sending you a video link. I want you all to have a look at it later on, not now. Okay. This is a video on how your attention is actually captured by people, by social media organizations, right? And they want to maximize it because it is profit to them. Today's economy that we live in, people are trying to get your attention to everything. How you can be careful about it, what you can do about it. I have kind of made this video. You can take a look at it later on. Don't put your time into it right now. All right, but this is what is happening. This is what is impacting. Now tell me, why does your attention, like you saw when we saw that game, people are playing basketball, and I put you into some focused activity, okay? And I told you to count, and you missed out you missed out the gorilla, such a big gorilla that came on the screen. You missed out on that. Why were you able to not focus or see the gorilla? Does anyone know? What happens is, I'll tell you a story, okay? All of this is based on your ego. What is the ego? The ego, one part of ego is what we know, that ego has attitude and all that. But ego is also something that balances your mindset. Ego is something which, creates a rational. Ego is something which creates logic on your mindset. Okay. But ego is operated on willpower. Your ego runs on your willpower. And every one of us have a very limited willpower on a daily basis. On a daily basis, we have a very limited willpower. Okay. And as the day starts, our willpower is great because we have slept well, we are refreshed, we are charged up. And as the day progresses, our willpower goes for a toss. Is it right or wrong? Is that true for everyone? As the day progresses, your minimum supply of willpower keeps depleting, right? And as the day progresses, you become slower in decision making, you become slower in thinking, in applying logics, right? That happens. Now let me tell you one story that used to happen, and that process is known as ego depletion. Okay. I used to work in this organization. I used to work in Reliance. I've been telling this story. I used to work in Reliance, and I used to see a lot of in Reliance. What used to happen is, in the office, in the Reliance office, they keep multiple jars of cookies, biscuits, juices, and all of that stuff. Right? They keep multiple jars of things to eat. When I used to get into the office and I used to kind of go to the gym and follow a diet and work out and all these things, when I used to enter the office in the day, my willpower is at the highest level, and I will say, no, no, I will not pick up these cookies, I will not eat anything, I will not drink anything sweet, I will not drink all these juices. Ye sab kya hai? All these are unhealthy things, right? And then I used to get on to my work. When I used to get into my work, I kind of, after working for a few hours, then I used to look at the jar of cookies. I used to look at the juices over there. And I used to get this, you know, uh, I used to get this craving that I should pick up the biscuit. And then I should control myself. No, 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 no. Then again, after some time, I used to work. I worked on something important. I've kind of uh, used my energies in that. So what is happening slowly as I'm working is my ego is depleting. My willpower is getting reduced by what? By the decisions that I'm taking regularly at work. Please remember, taking decisions also keeps reducing your willpower, keeps reducing you know, your energy, right? And then what happens is, by the day end, I just forget all my diet plans. I just forget all my calorie intake, and I will just go and grab whatever I get. Why? Because I'm just tired. I'm just tired. I have lost control. That's the reason that's the reason we say that you should be very focused on your decision making. In the office, multiple projects, multiple tasks will come to you, right? Multiple things will happen. And people will say, do this, do that. Now, everything that you say yes to, even if it's your boss, you are letting go of your limited supply of energy. into decision making, and that is reducing your output to the actual work that you are supposed to do. So you need to learn this attribute of saying no. You need to learn the art of saying no. When people, how you can do it? How can you do it? Can anyone tell me? How can you say no to your boss? That's the first question will come here. यार boss को कैसे ना बोले? Everyone has this challenge. You all mentioned one of the reasons that setting expectations, dealing with expectations is a area which you all face challenge on. Guys, yes or no? So when that happens, is that when you're busy into something, you're focused into something, you are giving your best into something, and if your boss comes and says that this is what has to be done urgently, ask your boss that I'm working on something important. You tell me what is the priority. Now, if this is not a priority which I'm doing, can I do it later, or can I do this, what you ask me to do, and can I pick that up later? Ask your boss, that's fine. The problem is we don't talk about it, and later in the session we will come to the various aspects of dissatisfaction and how you can deal with dissatisfaction. So that is how you need to preserve your ego. Our willpower has a limited pool of energy. Once we drain it, we lose control of ourselves. We lose the power to decide, to think critically, to take valid decisions. And that's the way where we go wrong. Small things like what clothes should I wear when I get up in the morning to office? That is a decision making early in the morning. Early in the morning, you are fresh, you have a lot of energy. You are wasting your energy and power of your willpower on deciding what to wear. Arey boss, decide the previous night when it doesn't matter, when your energy is low, because you're using your good energy for non-value added things. Do you get my point? When I say that 20%, you need to figure out what is the 20% of work that will give you 80% results, and what is the 80% of the work that is only giving you 20% result. Deciding what to wear, deciding what to eat are the 80% of the things that is only giving you 20% of results. And that's the reason you see people like in the past, Steve Jobs, people like Mark Zuckerberg, they just wear one outfit because they don't want to spend their time, or they don't want to deplete their ego deciding on what to wear and what to eat. So they'll just wear a black shirt with jeans, or they will just wear a gray shirt with jeans. That's it. What Dunbar basically says is that even a lot of people who are there in our lives, people whom we hang around in offices, okay, we can only meet the expectations. Now, this is coming to meeting expectations, setting expectations. When we come to the office, we try to set expectations with everyone. But psychology says, science says कि हम सबको खुश नहीं कर सकते हैं. At one given point of time, we can only keep one person happy. Right or wrong? Can we please everyone at all times? Can we please everyone at all times? If we try to do that, what is happening? Our ego is getting depleted. So there is a concept known as Dunbar's number. There is a concept known as Dunbar's number. Dunbar's number basically says that you can handle or please only these many people at one point of time. You cannot please everyone. And as humans, we have a limited set of energy. And because of that limited set of energy, there are only 14 to 15 people whom we can please, or keep them happy at one point of time. Because too many connections exhaust us, while a non-existent social life can make us lonely. Can we just say that, okay, I will not socialize with people, I'll just stay alone? Can we just avoid socializing? There's a balance. We cannot just avoid socializing. We cannot say that in the organization मैं किसी को देखूंगा नहीं, मैं अपना काम करके वापस आ जाऊंगा. Can that happen? No. We spend 1/3 or 2/3 of our life, or rather 50-60% of our life in our organizations, more than our family, we spend time in the organization. But if we say that we will not have a social life in the organization, that means we are not socializing, and that only make us lonely, that will keep us isolated. So what is the right number is basically what Dunbar talks about. That is what Dunbar number means. I have the video on my YouTube channel. I hope everyone has a YouTube channel, so you can look at the video right later on. I will not waste time on it. So it explains how we can form associations and what are the correct number that we need to effectively be with. Because in the end, man is a social animal, right or wrong? Yeah. And he always feeds on the company he surrounds himself with. So not too much or not less or not zero. All right. Now, when we ask about performance, when we are talk about performance management, and I ask you this question, how are you doing? What do we say? I'm doing excellent in life. Okay, which I call it as this goodness scale of life. If I ask you this question, आप कैसे कर रहे हो life में? How is your life going? How is your work going? You will have an answer that on the scale of absolutely positive or on the scale of absolutely negative. You will either say that life is great, everything is great, I am perfect, right? This is the mindset that we have. Yes or no? That I am perfect, nothing can go wrong. Okay. Or you are also a person, some of the extreme end is you are a person who says I'm always screwed in life. The worst always happens to me. And this is also an organization, you will see these kind of people. Yes, Dell, absolutely. Half of them fake it. All of them fake it, I say. Because we don't know what exactly where we are. When I say that I am perfect, I am blocking myself to any more learning. My mindset is developed in such a way that I cannot improve any further. But at the same time, at the extreme end, when I say the worst always happens to me, that means I'm always cribbing, I'm always complaining. I'm not, I'm not aware of the people, other people who face bigger challenges, bigger problems. Don't we come across such people in the organization who keep crying about themselves, who are not bothered about what is happening to the others? Instead of having this kind of attitude, I extend the scale. I make the scale bigger and I say that don't think of yourself, even if you know everything, even if you're doing well, place yourself somewhere in between. Place yourself somewhere in between. And even if you're doing the best, say that everything is good, but you need to improve on each and every single day. At the same time, if something bad is happening to you, if something bad has happened, can you say that, yes, something is bad, but there are people who face the worst? There are people in this life, on this world, who face a lot of other bad things. So I say to myself, whenever, let's say I'm driving on the road and my tire punctured, I can stay there. Yes, I will feel bad about it because I'm stuck. But immediately I try to think of the thing that it could have been worse. At least I'm able to get someone, who can help me out. What if I was stuck in a jungle? If I have not got a promotion and someone else has, should I always keep complaining that why this is happening to me? Or should I always say that there are people in this world who don't even have a job? You're getting my point. And if the worst is happening to me, if there is good, I always need to constantly seek improvement. And if there is bad, I need to understand what are my past mistakes, how I can improve. And I need to know that there are people who are still facing the worst and I'm still better off them. When we talk about this, I want you to take a picture of this. I want you to take a picture of this and say that where will I be in the next 5 years? Today, can you sit at your house at your homes. Take some time, give half an hour to yourself. And can you prepare a resume of yourself, imagining that you are 5 years in the future? What kind of designation you want to see yourself having? What kind of skills you see yourself having? Which country do you see yourself living in? And what are you doing? And when you do that, you need to create a plan, right? ऐसे नहीं कि बस पेपर पे लिख दिया हो गया. Find out what are the skills that you are good at. Okay, what are the skills that are required to reach that position after 5 years from today? And to reach there, what is the plan that I need to have to improve on? What are the tools? What are the people? And how much time will it take for me to improve on? Maybe doing some courses, maybe doing some certifications, I can improve on it. All right. At the same time, if I am not good at something, that's okay. Does not mean that my goals will change. Is there a way I can learn something, talk to some people, and improve on those skills? That's the 5 year plan that we try to map out. We try to understand where we are today. And why we're talking about 5 years is because you need to create that vision. You need to look at that timeline today. Because things cannot happen on a random basis. Things cannot happen as a fluke. Today, if you start working on it, saying that, okay, fine, I need to be in this designation. I need to be the vice president of my company. What is it I need to do to become the vice president? Do I need to do an MBA? Do I need to do a course? Can I become a vice president in this organization? Which are the kind of people I need to hang out with to become a vice president? All of this then starts coming to picture. All of these starts coming into the picture. So now when we talk about 5 year plan, we talk about, growing, we talk about learning, we talk about improving. How do we approach this? And this is one of the issues that if you remember, in the poll you had said, the issue is that setting expectations, meeting deadlines. How can someone, let's say your boss, your manager, even people at home, how can they look at you and they say that, okay, this person, Vallabh or Chaitali or anyone, what can I expect out of these people? If people say, if they look at you and say that, okay, fine, this is what I expect out of him. How does that come on? Now, this is basically how do you set up an identity? I'll tell you, typically, when we say that this is what we want to achieve, when I told you that you need to create your resume from now, thinking 5 years on, okay, and you say that this is the resume that I need to create. The first thing that we start doing is what? What is the salary I will earn? Where will I be? What kind of house will I have? We start thinking in those lines. We start creating targets of what we want to achieve. Instead, what we forget is that we forget of what is the identity that we want to build. Target, the outcome that we want. Please understand this carefully. हमें जो बनना है, हमें जो अचीव करना है, वो हमारा बाहरी outer layer है. That I want to have this kind of salary every month. I want to, let's say, settle down in this country, this city. I want to have this kind of a car. I want to have this kind of a house. Right? ये सब क्या बाहरी चीजें हैं. We always try to chase outcomes. This is very important. But what if you miss the target? What if you are not able to get that salary? What if you are not able to get that house? Because in these things, there are things which are in your control and there are some things which are out of your control. Not every outcome in life is in our control, right? We will try our best, but not everything is in our control. So what do we need to build towards? What are the things? Then we come to those things which are in our control. That is, we will create a system. We will follow a process to reach that outcome. क्योंकि प्रोसेस हमारे कंट्रोल की चीज है. हम जो करना चाहते हैं वो हमारे ऊपर ही हमें क्या करना है. If I want to become healthy, if I want to look like, Hrithik Roshan, or if I want to look like Deepika Padukone or Disha Patani, I may or may not be like her, but at least I can, the roadmap to be like them is in my hand. Then it is not upon me if I become a celebrity or not. When I start working on the process, every single day I go to the gym, or let's say every single day, if I want to buy a house, I save on some money, right? Or if I want to become the vice president, so every single day I'm reading books, I'm enrolling in some courses. What is all this? It's a process. आप सुबह उठते हो, ब्रश करते हो, नाश्ता करते हो, क्या है वो? That is a process, right? It becomes a part of your life. It becomes a habit. You don't have to think कि अरे भाई मुझे आज पैसे बचाना है, अरे भाई मुझे आज ये कोर्स पढ़ना है. I read 4 to 5 books every single month, which means in a year, what is that? About 50, 60 books. I don't keep a target of reading 50, 60 books in a year. That's not my target. My target is reading 20 to 25 to 40 pages every single day. Break it down into smaller pieces, because आप एक बड़ा पहाड़ देखते हो ना, if you look at life as a big mountain, you will find it challenging. Break it down to the smallest possible component and then say, this is what I want to do daily. Then keep your head down and do it daily. And suddenly after a year, after 1 year, you will see that because of the daily input, you reached a certain level which is putting you ahead of many other people in life. You will suddenly see, oh, you have saved so much money. You will suddenly see, oh, I have become so much knowledgeable. Suddenly people are respecting me. And then what has that created? That has built my identity. Now people expect things out of me, not from what I say. People expect things out of me, out of what I am. Just imagine people, your parents, do they come and check with you, अरे बेटा तुमसे ये हो पाएगा या नहीं हो पाएगा? Or do they come and tell you तू ये कर या तू मत कर? क्यों बोलते हैं? Because in their minds, we have established an identity. In the minds of our loved ones, or maybe if you're working for an organization for a long time, we have established an identity in their minds, and they know what are the expectations. So when you say that I am unable to deliver to my seniors' expectations, what kind of identity have you built? That is the question you need to ask yourself. Are you getting the point? Outcome-based habits are therefore, I want to lose 20 kgs, or an organization will say we want to increase the sales by 10%. Is this the focus? Instead, what is the process that you're creating to lose 20 kgs? What is the process that you are creating in your organization to increase your sales by 10%? And what is that identity creating? What is that identity creating for you as a person? That going to the gym and running a marathon or dieting has identified you as a healthy person, because your target is not to lose 20 kgs. The target is to be a healthy person. The target is not only to increase sales by 10%. वो शायद आज हो जाएगा, कल नहीं होगा, फिर परसों होगा. Inconsistent है. But what is your identity? Your identity is to be a unique product or service have a unique product or service feature in the market. So create identity-based habits. And that is how you manage expectations of others. That is how people look at you. What you want to achieve versus what you want to become. Proving your identity to yourself is far more important than good results. If I ask you today, what is your identity? How do you see yourself? I know what my identity is. I know how I see myself. And my identity is my routine, which is getting up in the morning at 7:30, dropping my daughter to school, doing a run, doing a jog, walking out, coming home. While having my breakfast, I will, I will read a book, few pages. While doing my jog, while doing my run, I listen to audiobooks. Then I sit for my work till evening. Then I sit down to create content. That is my entire day. That's my identity. People say na that अरे ये तो busy आदमी है, ये तो free आदमी है. That is the identity that you have created for others. Whose control is it? Your identity is in your control. Outcome will not be in your control, but creating identity is in your control. Can you create your identity very easily? There are two things which are important to create identity. One is your time, right? And the other is results. आप कितना टाइम देते हो और आप क्या रिजल्ट लाते हो. Based on that is your identity, right? Anything. Even having a good relationship, even trying to create a identity as a good parent. I'm not saying it should be only money, work. Even the identity of creating, becoming a good parent. There are two factors, right? Your time and the results that come out in that time. हम क्या सोचते हैं, आज जिम जाएंगे तो ऐसा चलेगा. Right or wrong? Is it not the way how we think? आज मैंने जिम स्टार्ट किया, मेहनत करूंगा, सब ऊपर जाएगा. What happens? Reality. If you see this curve, this orange curve, if you see this till this point, okay, where the curve is, the line is not even gone upwards. आपने time डाला, कुछ नहीं हो रहा है. What happens over here? जिम में जा रहे हो, मेहनत कर रहे हो, ट्रेडमिल भाग रहे हो, वेट कम नहीं हो रहा है. किताबें पढ़ रहे हो, कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. बॉस मेहनत बहुत कर रहे हो, बॉस नोटिस नहीं कर रहा है. Then what starts happening? What starts happening then after you put that time in? This curve, this area, can you see this area? The difference between what we expect and what is reality, that area is called as valley of disappointment. We are on this red line of what to expect, of what we expect, our expectations. The reality is that we are still on the ground. And there is that gap. That gap is known as the valley of disappointment. And then we quit. Without realizing that slowly this graph will take off. There's no rocket science to get results, to deliver results. Once you have chosen, of course, first you need to choose that this is the right thing. You can't be in a loss-making project or something of that sort. There is no rocket science. Trust me, I have read 100, 200 books till today. I have seen people who are successful, who are not successful. The only difference that I see amongst people, okay, is basically the effort that they put to stick to something. And then suddenly it's like magic. And everyone else says, अरे भाई जादू हो गया, कैसे होने लग गया ये? Then people start speculating. कि अरे कुछ तो लफड़ा किया रहेगा इसने, कुछ तो गलत किया होगा इसने, right? People forget the effort that people have put in the past. People forget this valley of disappointment. You give up in the valley of disappointment. You start asking the question, am I the right fit? You begin to question your identity in the organization. A new joinee joins. You guys are fairly new, fresh in life. You join in and you feel that, nothing is working. Am I at the right place? Am I at the right area? You start questioning the process. Am I doing it the right way? And then you ask, how long should I do it? Everyone has seen an ice cube. बर्फ का टुकड़ा, बर्फ देखा है सबने. अब आइस को, you remove the ice from the chiller, from the freezer. And if you keep it in an air-conditioned environment, will the ice melt? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But then you slowly increase the temperature. Let's say you bring the temperature from 20 degrees to 25 degrees. And then again, the ice is not melting. And then you wait. And then you wait from 25 to 30 degrees. Still the ice has not melted. Still the ice has not melted. And then you slowly increase the temperature to 32 degrees. And now you see that the ice is melting. अब थोड़ा बर्फ गल रहा है. You have to wait for the right temperature where the ice melts. You get my point? Now, can you think of any such person whom you have seen who has waited for success? I mean, I'm a cricket fan, so I always look at Saurav Ganguly. Why Saurav Ganguly? Because when he joined and he started playing cricket, he had a very bad start to his career. But did he give up? He joined the team. Everyone said that he had attitude issues, he had ego issues, lot of bad media, people talking bad about him, XYZ things. But did he give up? If he had given up, how did he retire? How did he retire? He is one of the principal architects of the growth of the Indian cricket team. Aparna is saying right, brothers. Absolutely right. The failures that the Wright brothers had, if they had given up in not, they were the ones who invented the airplane and they crashed so many times. Thank you for the example, Aparna. If they crashed so many times and if they gave up at that point of time, can you imagine maybe possible that we wouldn't have had air travel at all? So that is how you need to work. You need to understand what is the plateau. This entire thing is known as the plateau of latent potential. You need to wait for that latent potential to spring up in your life. Everyone knows the story of Apple. How many of you all know the story of Apple? Don't know the story of Apple. Okay. This was a brand who wanted to be the number one brand in the world. They had a very small market share. Okay. In 2020, in the fourth quarter of 2020, they just had 14% of the PC market and only 21% of the smartphone market. And they were very happy with that market share. Earlier, before this, they had a market share of only 2% in the PC market. Just 2%. But even with that 2%, they were extremely happy because they didn't want their product to be in everyone's hand. They wanted the product to be something which people can, feel a status symbol, right? And they worked on having a very unique design. They always thought highly of design. And this is what the CEO said, that I want to put a ding in the universe. This is the identity that he wanted to create. He was okay with having a low market share, but even then they had a high mind share. And they had this attitude of thinking different. This was the identity. The identity was not, the target that they set was not to, have this much money, make so much profit. They worked on the identity. And this was the outcome. Steve Jobs himself was seen as a counterculture icon. He was not an executive who wore suits and, who wore jackets. How he used to be? He used to be in a black t-shirt and jeans, right? He became an icon for the youth. Never dressed. And did you know that Steve Jobs, please read the story about Steve Jobs. He was highly influenced by India. You all might have heard the story that he spent a lot of time in India when, he was asked to leave the Apple company. Then Apple went into losses, and Steve Jobs was in India. He spent a lot of time in the temples out over here, and he got a lot of inspiration. He always thought from the Eastern philosophy, unlike that. So he created a very different identity for what was happening around him in the US. How can you communicate ideas? Now, everyone knows iPhone is by Apple. Who invented the iPhone in Apple? In fact, it was not Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was against creating a smartphone. He didn't want to have a smartphone in the company. It was his team members who told him how the smartphone market was growing, how it was getting bigger by the day, and why Apple should start, you know, building a smartphone for themselves. Steve Jobs was never convinced. He never wanted a iPhone. The other point, if you remember, the issue that you have put up is how to communicate ideas to your seniors. There are people in the organization. Steve Jobs was not an easy man to speak to, right? Because he was very temperamental. He was to be very aggressive. So people used to be very scared to go and speak with him. But when this team who were designing the iPhone, they went in with a lot of research, they went in with the initial designs, and they communicated to him. So when you want to go communicate your ideas, don't just go, what happens ki idea aage ab jaake baat kar lenge. Instead, you need to have enough data to support why your idea is strong. If possible, create designs, make pictures, create flow diagrams, explain in very simple terms to your boss on what you are trying to do. What we do is we think of the idea is great. And when we explain it to someone senior, we think because they are senior, we kind of overcomplicate it. We overcomplicate the idea and make it very complex for people to understand. That is the mistake that we do when we communicate ideas. But always remember this, when you are explaining an idea to your boss, explain it in a way thinking as if you are explaining it to a 5-year-old. Because bosses are busy, they have multiple things going on their head. If you explain to them something in a complex way, they will think this will not work. And therefore, they will never listen to it. But instead, your challenge is to simplify the idea, to make the idea as simple. जैसे आप अपने बच्चे को जाके बता रहे हो, वैसे explain करो. That is what the team of iPhone did, of Apple did. And when they explained that in a simple way, but with data, but with designs, but with specs, that is when we all know what happened next. At the same time, when we are dissatisfied with something, what do we do? What do we do when we communicate? Okay. There are 4 ways of communicating dissatisfaction. One is, it's called the EVLNL. Exit, voice, neglect or loyalty. Exit मतलब छोड़ के चले जाओ, टीम छोड़ के चले जाओ या कंपनी छोड़ दो. Voice is that you stand up and make a point about it. Because if you don't exit or if you don't raise your voice, what will happen is you will only neglect it, or you will become loyal to those things which are causing the dissatisfaction. So always know these 4 points of exit, voice, neglect. If you say in the organization and keep neglecting, a lot of people, many people in offices, when they have tough leaders, tough bosses, they will say, "Chodna yaar, kaun bolega isko?" But when you say that, leave it, who will explain? That leader or that boss continues that behavior with everyone else, thinking that this is an accepted form of behavior. You understand? At the same time, if you become loyal, if you join your boss, and typically the other thing that happens is you also start behaving in that way to your juniors, to other people around you. Then what happens is you have created a culture that is acceptable in the organization. So exit and voice is the best way if you're looking to create a cultural change. That is when people will, when attrition happens, the HR comes saying, "Arey, why are people leaving? क्या हो रहा है देखो टीम में क्या हो रहा है एक्टिविटी करो ये करो वो करो right or wrong? Don't you go through this? Don't you see this happening in organizations? Everyone starts running at that point of time. Or if you say that, how will I exit? I don't have a job. Never be scared to raise your voice. So always remember this four aspects of communicating dissatisfaction. So we've discussed on focus. We've discussed on managing expectations, setting identity, how you can set your identity to deal with expectations. And we also said how to communicate ideas. Thank you so much. I'm really, really happy to have this feedback. I hope each one of you have subscribed to the YouTube channel. I keep I keep posting a lot of stuff on my YouTube channel. So keep watching the videos. That itself is like a library. You can go through it. You can understand a lot of things.